Kelley Long is here today, and she's talking about retirement, but specifically why retirement for any of us that are working today is maybe quite a bit harder than for our grandparents. And there's some historical reasons for this and how pensions and retirement plans were created in the first place. So that's really the top information here.
Right. So a lot of people don't know that pensions didn't even start until about 1875. So prior to that, people just worked till they died. And so the thought of retiring and stopping and enjoying life after you're done working is really a very modern concept. In fact, it's only come to fruition in the last 15 to 20 years. Prior to 1875, nothing. And then pensions came into play to help maybe help with those last couple years of life when maybe people stopped working because they couldn't, but they weren't really living on that money. But then World War II happened, and all of those soldiers came back, and employers were desperate to recruit those guys. And so pensions became very popular. And by 1970, 45% of large employers were offering pensions to their employees. It was a great way for people to have a guaranteed income for after they were done working. And that kind of evolved retirement into something that people looked forward to. But then came the Revenue Act of 1978, and that was 401k time. And that was the slow death of what I call the company man. At that point, the company man, companies...
The 40 years in gold watch.
Exactly. Companies lost their loyalty to employees, and employees lost their loyalty to employers. These days, the average 40-year-old will have 11 jobs by the time they're done working.
Wow.
So there's no longer that incentive to stay with your employer, but most importantly, that 401k Act and the slow death of pensions, where now even single digits worth of employers still offer it, has shifted the responsibility for preparation to retirement to us. What's really caused the perfect storm here are two things. First of all, we're sometimes living a third of our life after we're done working, so we need a lot more money. But more importantly, or more stormily, we are not being educated on how to save. And so that's, in my daily work, I get to help people with that. But what people don't, it's almost too late before a lot of people realize, oh my gosh, this is on me. No one is going to take care of this for me. Social Security is there for a portion. A lot of people think it's going to be gone, but it'll still be there.
It's a portion. That's the key to that.
Social Security is a portion of it, but it's on you. 401ks are the new wave, and they're not going anywhere. So it's really interesting or important for us, those of us who are still working, to take that responsibility and understand that there isn't going to be a company that's going to come along and rescue us. And we think we can work through retirement like we work through other debt issues. Sometimes you just don't have that choice.
Healthcare issues, all sorts of things come into play. So what would be your top advice to people thinking retirement? Of course, it's going to be depending their age.
Well, interestingly enough, only about 20% of people have ever run a retirement projection. So the first thing is you got to know where you stand. And even if you're just positive you're not on track, still find out that number. Just run a calculator. You can find one on a variety of websites, AARP, feedthepig.org, Social Security even has some calculators. And find out whether or not you're on track and what it might take. Just be realistic about it. What I'm seeing a lot of retirees do, or at least pre-retirees, is as they're getting into their 60s, they're just easing back. They're shifting their careers to more part-time work, which is great. So they're postponing that Social Security so they'll get more, and still continuing to earn some income, and maybe spending down some of that retirement savings, which in the long run can help save in taxes in their 70s.
And speaking about Social Security, it's probably a good idea to go and check your Social Security account to make sure that over the years they've actually attributed what you've made to you.
Yes, logging into your Social Security account, go to ssa.gov, create an account if you don't have one. It's actually really interesting. I saw my first year's earnings when I was 14, and I made like $1,800 working at McDonald's. It's kind of fun, but make sure that those numbers are correct, and then it will give you an idea of a running tally of what your estimates would be at the different ages for Social Security.
Kelley, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Fritz.